Wholesaling, while seen by some as an easy way to get rich without doing any work, is not always as easy as it seems. It usually takes at least some money, hard work finding deals and buyers, and getting the right connections is necessary. Luckily for you, Real Talker, we've prepared a step-by-step guide that goes over how wholesaling works, what you should realistically expect in the business, and how to be successful. First, we talk about what wholesale is. Wholesale is the practice of selling or distributing commodities at a price lower than their expected value. Wholesale sales include direct wholesale, general sale, and public auction, as well as wholesale on consignment to secondary distributors or retailers. There are many different methods of purchasing goods in bulk quantities, and consequently, numerous cases of fraudulent practices through distribution. Nowadays, life is easy in the fact that technology is our sidekick. Wholesaling houses for cash through text conversations can be done methodically with a little bit of information here and there. The distribution process of wholesaling property may seem hard, but it actually uses really efficient methods and programs which can't go out of date with the internet, such as having apps to provide notifications to your clients and recipients every time you reply to their phone calls or messages via text or phone calls. A wholesaler may get a house under contract for $100,000 and find another investor willing to pay $110,000. The wholesaler makes $10,000 on that deal minus marketing pays they may be paying. Breaking it down, wholesaling is buying real estate and then discounting it, so you can make a profit on the difference in sales price. Now we'll show you how it's done. You, the wholesaler, spend your time marketing to generate distressed seller leads. Now, motivated sellers have to sell right now or regret it with extreme motivation. Make sure you pay enough attention to what they've got going on and negotiate with them by putting their house under contract at a significant discount. At the same time, one can also turn on marketing at a later time after one gets under contract. When you put a piece of real estate under contract and earn equitable rights, for instance, this allows to remarket. But this time, we're marketing to our cash buyer database. Now, because we're offering the property out to the rest of the world at a big discount from retail, one of two things is going to happen. Either you're going to have a current database of cash buyers and one of them is going to step forward, or an outside source will purchase the property at this point. So you can negotiate and put it under contract. When we work with our cash buyer, the difference between significant discount and discount is where the flip occurs. When a motivated seller that's overpaying has low vacancy rates, a contract is sought for purchase and profit. But if you're a wholesaler, there's a handy way to pull your profit in without making bad profits. Instead of having the transaction end with an assignment and payment, what we'll do is call it back to us and close it out even closer with double closing. So let's break this down positively. When work is put into an assignment contract, the wholesaler puts the developer's contract in a buyer to bear with them as new buyers come onto the market. This allows users such as real estate development to circumvent competitors who would occasionally associate themselves with one of their opponents. Real estate interests make use of this tactic when they need an injection of capital via outside investors while amending agreements to alter terms and parameters. Most assignments are from affordable housing or foreclosure contracts. When a title company is willing to work with a wholesaler, a process known as double closing can speed up the entire process. Of course, finding a title company that will agree to double close can be tricky. Luckily, most title companies are open to working with investors, and asking a local Facebook group is a good way to find one. For right now, just understand that this is where the flip occurs, and one of these processes is how we're going to actually close out the transaction. At this point, I want to go over and show you exactly how wholesaling fits in your overall overall business strategy. So new investors always ask me, how does wholesaling fit in your overall investing model or the overall strategy? And I always answer that it depends on whether or not you want cash now or cash later. With wholesale just being off the approach, the first thing we did to create passive income was to sell property in our investing strategy that allows us to buy and flip properties after the fact, whether it be for wholesaling or from our primary home. If you decide to invest in other markets like real estate, stocks, or retirement accounts, then keep your invested orientated at less than 20%. That way, you'll earn quicker cash with low risk and still be able to leverage your skills to buy and sell properties and stocks at the right time. With enough creativity, a wholesale deal can be poised to stand out from the rest. But buyer and seller need to work together to come up with unique deals that both parties will be satisfied with. When it comes to buying wholesale leads, your options are to buy, sell, or fix out for a stay. Buy is better for businesses that have the capacity of a higher volume of transactions. Sell is best if you want optionality when somebody else needs some stock you bought and then no longer need. Fix and stay allows your business to enjoy the value asset without the risk while still profiting from the additional sale possible by fixing our old stock once it's aged. It will depend upon your educational levels as well as your short and long-term goals. If you want to increase your income, set goals for the number of leads generated, because increasing your revenue will be dependent on how many people you're able to bring into revenue. It's effective to have a goal so you won't fall short on revenue goals. Next, you're going to need to start running your numbers so you can position yourself to be able to make an offer to get the property under contract at a significant enough of a discount. Then you're going to use your wholesale purchase contract once you've seriously negotiated the sale of the portfolio and put it under contract. So now you control what's called equitable rights in the property. Flipping it is important to figure out what this property's cash-only sales price is going to be. You then will know your return on financing, which helps you find a buyer for the property. At this point, depending on how much of a spread you're going to earn, you need to choose whether or not to assign or double close now. To make your decision, let's take a closer look here at the assignment method and the double closed method. But at this point in the transaction, you're going to need to decide whether you want an assignment or a double close. With online closing services, you don't have to worry about paper or dealing with stress associated with signing documents offline. All paperwork for the buyer and seller is done through secure channels with time-saving technology such as document review boards. You can work from anywhere in the world without even leaving your house. With no money down, you can close out a transaction without having to put up any of the product yet. This decreases your risk and allows you to check offers before committing. Some wholesalers like this because it was easier to scale on quickie orders that come in and go out quickly. One method is a contract deal where they assign the contract after they carry their own inventory, but never commit their capital. In transactions, the buyer of the property is always given the ability to assign a salesperson. Furthermore, if a seller has sold a property and not yet been paid out by the buyer, their rights allow them to agree with a second buyer who is willing to pay them in cash rather than sell it directly to them as well. This procedure, when followed perfectly, leads to both operators earning significant discounts on their used properties. The assignment form can be a bit more complicated for some people. The types of transactions I'm talking about look a lot like this, where one person needs to assign their interests or rights in the property to somebody else as part of the transaction. In some cases, I might already have assignments in place with other members of my investment group because they are currently holding that property. If a tenant buys a property with the intention of flipping it and you have an an assignment option, then you should use one. It ensures that you get back enough of your expenses to warrant the interest on cash, maybe the return which you'll be using in later years. If you're not into the idea of spending all your time managing assignments, this allows for quick turnover. The double closed method ensures that no one is left in the dust and can close the deal. When using this method, you make one decision based on how much of your balance the seller is willing to take, then come back with a second decision following any objections. With recently introduced double closes, sellers can keep their profits confidential and buyers won't learn the other's identity. By using the double closes, you can set instructions that work simple instructions for a complex transaction in 3 steps. We will become a buyer and give our service, acquiring the property with another property, who will then become the seller. Once it is back on the market to find a successful buyer, we can use our service to sell it under a discount price during our agreed upon marketing period for cashback. We're going to call this separate transaction the B2C side, so you can see there are 2 transactions going on. One acquisition, the ATB side, and one flip, or I'm selling it to the cashback and buyer, which is the B2C side. Regardless of the title company, an attorney will accept this payment method. While it doesn't come with a top price tag that standard escrow companies offer, you can historically place lower stakes and save over $100 on your closing costs. With the final cashback and buyer's money set on to flow through the B2C transaction to the A2B transaction, they'll pay for the motivated seller and get cash out. Whatever is left over is our profit as the wholesaler. So the spread here is where we buy one futures contract and sell another. Typically, that would be input by someone. So even though this is all disclosed, this all happens simultaneously without the buyer or the seller really knowing anything about the details of the transaction. That's why we like the double closed method. But we do have to warn you, it's much more expensive to complete this type of transaction because you're paying 2 sets of closing costs. So only do the double close if you're making a big enough spread to justify the extra costs, or if you want to make sure that the buyer or the seller is going to see what you're making. In order to apply what you've learned so far, you need to transition out of the classroom by seeing and doing things for yourself. Think about how I used the assignment method so effectively on the whole house wholesale rebuild in Mesa, Arizona. And he told me that he had a client whose father had died, and the daughter just wanted to sell his house or the old home fast for cash. So there was true motivation there, and that's the type of deals we're looking for. We did our research and we realized that the home had some good equity in it, and we negotiated a purchase price of $80,000. We immediately put the property under contract using our buy-side paperwork, now with 100%. One investor stepped forward and said, "I'll take it for $90,000. At this point, our investor-friendly closing agent took care of all the paperwork. We turned all that paperwork over to our investor-friendly closing agent. We closed the deal 3 days later. So the investor got to be able to buy the property for $90,000, and they were able to rehab the property and flip it, so we left enough so-called meat on the bones that they had a lot of equity still left in the property, that they were able to earn the profit that they wanted. The motivated seller was able to get their $80,000, and we got our $10,000 assignment fee. Not bad for only 1 week's worth. Now here's a house at 19315 North 85th Avenue, Peoria, Arizona. This is a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house, and this was the secondary home of a couple that lived in the state. The husband was sick, and the wife decided that she wanted to sell because they didn't want to use the property anymore. So she had her daughter, who was local here in Arizona, contact us. The daughter informed us that the house was basically free and clear, but there was a real motivation there because the father was sick, and that's what we're looking for. So we did my research and found that the house was worth about $160,000. So we made an all-cash offer for $100,000, which was accepted because they were really motivated. We weren't about to tell our motivated seller that we make a quick $115,000, as she would immediately have her flowery retainer aromatherapy session. So we decided instead to do the double closed method and misdirect her with a confession letter while simultaneously putting the property back under contract with our investor-friendly closing agent. 4 days later, we closed and we were given $15,000 that should have been hers in profit. Wholesaling can be a way to get started investing in real estate without much cash or experience. It takes a lot of work and knowledge to make this business a success, so take your time to learn from others, learn your market, and do deals the right way. That's it for this video, Real Talker. Remember to subscribe to our channel, and if you feel like we've delivered value, please share this video with one person. That's right, just one person, as a token of your appreciation for the hard work we put into making content that educates and helps you on your mission of building your own fortune. Remember, you can watch video after video, but it isn't until you actually take action that you'll start to see results. See you soon.